Thank you for tuning into my very first YouTube video. I am Dr. Deborah Naylor. I am a board certified pediatrician that's been in practice for over 20 years, which makes me old, I know, but it also means that I have seen it all and seen it in person with my own eyes, treated it with my own hands and my own brain. And I'm here to give you straight, honest talk with real life experiences that I've seen in my career. So today I want to talk about meningococcal meningitis, which is one of the diseases that is no longer recommended across the board by the ACIP, the CDC, and Secretary Robert F. Kennedy's colleagues. And the first thing I wanted to do was ask them, how many cases of meningococcal meningitis have you seen, Secretary Kennedy? For Surgeon General nominee Casey Means, how many cases of meningococcal meningitis have you treated? I'm betting that number is 0. And if that is the case, which I'm betting it is, what business do you have telling people like me what we should be vaccinated against? Or whether we should vaccinate at all? So, now that I've had that little spiel, let's just jump right into meningococcal meningitis, which is the absolute worst thing I have seen in my career. The first time I ever saw it, I was a medical student on rotation. We were in the ICU, and there was a 30-something-year-old, previously super healthy marathon runner who had meningococcal meningitis. She was intubated on a ventilator, so, whole machine breathing for her, all that crap. She lost all 4 limbs. I'm sure she did not run any marathons after that. I'm not sure whether she survived or not, because I rotated off to some other thing to learn something else, and I don't know. The worst time I've ever seen it was a 2-year-old at Children's Medical Center in Dallas, where I was a resident in the ICU. This kid, we could not keep him intubated. We could not keep him on a ventilator because he didn't have a nose. He didn't have ears. There was nothing to attach the endotracheal tube to. Usually you tape it down. His skin was all falling off. Occupational therapy was coming up daily with some new contraption with elastic bands and Velcro and stuff to try and keep the tube down his airway. He eventually developed fungus, which probably affected his brain and damaged that. Fungus is almost impossible to treat, and almost everyone doesn't survive that, or not very well. The day that he was scheduled to have all 4 limbs amputated, his family finally elected to withdraw care. In my view, that was the right thing. I can't imagine trying to raise a 2-year-old with likely brain damage, no arms, no legs, no nose, no ears. It sounds awful. So that's the worst thing I've ever seen in my career. It is caused by bacteria called Neisseria meningitidis, which is a common bacteria a lot of people carry in their nose and mouth. Most people never get sick from it, but occasionally somebody has this weird sort of immune reaction to it and they get sick. And on day 1, you have a fever and you feel cruddy. By day 2, you have these purple dots on your fingers and toes that spread centrally. It's called a petechial rash. And by day 3 or before, virtually everybody's in the ICU on a ventilator. Approximately 30% of the people that get it die. About 50% of the people that survive lose things like fingers, toes, ears, nose. It's really bad. Back when I was a resident 23 or so years ago, we probably saw it once a month. In the hospital, they still see it. The residents I teach still see it. They just don't see it as often as we used to. And the reason for that is there's a vaccine, or some vaccines, for meningococcal meningitis. Meningococcal meningitis, the most likely time to get that is going to be when you're about 19 years old in a dorm room setting. In the US, we start that vaccine series at age 11. Some countries in Europe for sure, started a lot earlier than that, as early as age 2, maybe even before. But we give the meningococcal vaccine, which covers 4 serotypes: A, C, W, and Y. So most of the serotypes that cause disease. We give that one at age 11 and again at about age 16. That one does not protect against serotype B. Serotype B is basically the only one that's been causing outbreaks in college campuses in the last 10 years. There's currently a big outbreak of meningococcus type B in the UK on some college campuses. So there is an additional vaccine that protects against just serotype B. There are a couple of brands of those. It's usually a 2-dose series given over 6 months or longer. There is one vaccine on the market that protects against all 5. Side effect profile is super safe. It's been out for more than 20 years. You might have some mild pain at the injection site. You might develop a low-grade fever. But in my view, the benefits of that vaccine far, far, far outweigh the risks. And again, that disease is the worst thing I have ever seen in my career. So I highly, highly suggest you strongly consider getting that vaccine for your child. So if you like, or even if you hate this content, subscribe, leave me a comment. I'm Dr. Deb. I've seen it all. And I appreciate you tuning in today. Hopefully we'll talk to you soon. Have a good day.